Qual è l'ordine con cui parleranno?
Allora, prima Garofalo, Minella, Zecca, Pergolizzi. Lo facciamo così, prima facciamo prima Cubeddu e poi Pergolizzi. Ok, grazie mille. Well, I think we are perfectly on time. Please, I'm sure you enjoyed the previous session, and I'm sure that you will enjoy even more the next one, because it's going to talk about a topic that is not usually taught in the university, unless you do some specific course. We wanted to have this event regarding mafia and illicit trafficking, and I told mafia, not only one mafia, just because we think that under the title of this year festival, you will see that there is a subtitle that is betting on the human factor. And enforcement and prevention of crime needs to have human factor. They are the people that often are behind the scene. They are the ones that may inspire a film and may inspire a serial. If you read their curriculum, you will see that many of them, all of them, have been involved in investigation, in searching and arresting Camorra leaders, Camorra criminals and Drangheta leaders and Sicilian mafia leaders, and they've been working in a transnational activity of investigation. This panel, and I will be in a very big difficulty to describe their activity in terms also of their career, because each one of them has, in a certain way, grown on the ladder of activities, and their career has been signed by success that made them grow. So I will tell you more, and I will tell you also why we have chosen to speak about this topic. Because we want you to have a better understanding of what organized crime is now and the impact that their business has on our society, on our economy. And also, we want you to understand that the specific topic of trafficking is not limited to only one or two different subjects. You have the drug market, you have human beings that have been now on the press, often used as a tool, as a merchandise. You have firearms, you have tobacco, that is one of the most original and classical trafficking. You have counterfeit, illegal gambling and match fixing, extortions, usury. You have fraud that have become even more frequent with the digital world, fraud that are organized and that are performed by organizations that are based maybe in one very foreign country. And last but not least, you have the illicit waste international trafficking that will be specifically part of our discussion. The base of the questions that I'm going to pose, even if I do not pose the same question, but is the underlying questions to our guest, is first, where organized crime proceeds are generated and from which illicit markets. They all have experience in different fields and they will be able to give you some type of idea. We only have 1 hour and a half, so it's not going to be one specific topic, but a general idea of where organized crime proceeds comes from. And the other one, where these proceeds are invested after in the legal, legitimate economy. That is very important because it's changing also sometimes the market in terms of altering the normal concurrence and competition. So the first question I will pose to Marco Garofalo, that is colonel of the anti-crime in the central direction of the Italian state police. And he has a very, very long career, long even though he's very young, but he started his career in 2000, and he has been commanding different, it's called squadra mobile, it means mobile companies along the Italian peninsula. He has been working in the investigation against criminality in Lombardia, but also specifically about the so-called ethnical mafia, the Ukraine, Albanese, Nigerian, Romanian. He has been working very closely on the search of wanted criminal from the Camorra, and has been involved in investigation in the United States, Canada, Australia, Germany, Holland, and so on, so on, so on. Now he's an expert in economic criminality and financial criminality, eco-mafia and agro-mafia. Now, the first question I want to pose to Colonel Marco Garofalo. I say colonel because that's his title in the army, but Italian police is not an army, is a civil servant. So that's equivalent. His title is dirigente, primo dirigente. The question is, where do organized crime proceeds come from, and how large, more or less, is the amount of money that is moved by the mafia, international, Italian and international?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am really proud to be here to represent my organization, Italian State Police. I can give a very speedy answer to the question with my presentation. In the first part of this presentation, you can find also my role and my specific duty in Italian State Police for the fight against the organized crime, tipo Italian mafia, that was different from other foreign mafia that also Mr. Bartolomucci said, like Albanian, Nigerian, and so other. Some speed point of view about the organization of Italian State Police. You can find inside the Ministry of Interior, the Department of Public Safety, and inside of this, there is the Central Anti-Crime Directorate, DCA. This is a central office is involved in the contrast of organized crime. And there is my office that is a Central Operational Service. Inside this office, you can find a lot of investigation team that operate here in Rome and all around in Italy in one of our headquarters, 107 headquarters all around in Italy. That is a connection with our provincia, as you know. For Italian guys, as you know what is provincia, you can ask to your colleagues that come from outside Italy what is provincia, so give me an help about this. In this case, I'm inside the Central Operational Service. This is the part about the specific office that was involved in this specific organization. The Central Operational Service ensures the investigative activities on subject organized crime and serious criminal phenomena. Not only so organized crime tipo mafia, but other phenomena like immigrant smuggling or international drug trafficking, international weapon trafficking, and so on. Also through the coordination of the activity of our investigation team all around the Italian city. You can find on the map 26 special units that work in the main Italian city. The name is investigative section of the Central Operations Service. You can read there the duty of this office that are directly connected with the central office in Rome when I work, okay? And also, we have also 100 investigative teams. The name is Squadra Mobile, Mobile Squad, of the Italian State Police that work inside our main office in each one of 100 this town. Questure is the name. And in this case, I know that we have a similar organization with my colleagues of Guardia di Finanza and Arma dei Carabinieri, with different name of our structure, but the duty was the same, about the competence on fight against the serious crime and organized crime. This is the focus about my division. This is the division of Central Operational Service that was involved about the organized crime tipo mafia. As you know, we are divided into different sections. Each section is specialized about one kind of specific type of Italian mafia. In the first case, you can find organized crime of 'Ndrangheta, that, as you know, probably is the Calabrian mafia, okay? Organized crime that come from Calabria, but in this moment it was overspread all around the world. In this moment, it was the most dangerous Italian mafia for his capability to go all around the world outside the border of Calabria, in Italy and also in Europe, in other countries outside Europe. There is another section that was involved about Cosa Nostra, that is the most traditional kind of mafia, like Sicilian mafia, as you know, I mean. And in the same section, there is also our central police gambling and betting unit, because we work also against some phenomenon that was into the interest of mafia. In this case, the betting and gambling was one of the main main target of organized crime to recycle and to improve their gain and their money, okay? In the first case, we have all other organized crime Italian mafia, like Camorra, that come from Campania, so Naples and all around, and from Puglia, Bari, and other country, that are other specific and most dangerous mafia that operate in Italian border. In last time, we have also a special unit that work for the most dangerous fugitive and serious crimes capture. Okay, we work for the search of this person that are fugitive in front of most serious crime. Oh, this is the base of our specific investigation. This kind of law you can find all in Italy. Stop. There is in another country another specific legal firm like this one. Associazione di tipo mafioso was the name. It's like conspiracy tipo mafia. In a lot of your country, I don't know if some of you come from England or other, there are some specific law like conspiracy to commit a serious crime. But only in Italy we have a specific law for the definition of organized crime tipo mafia. This is the situation. You can find in Italy the terms. If you like to translate to your colleagues, what does it mean like assoggettamento is submission, okay? What is the forza di intimidazione is the submission that derive from the strength and violence of a group. Is the group move with violence and with intimidation, the people has fear, and so is in a situation of submission. Omertà is a silence, to induce the person to be in silence in front of the crime. And then a lot of commission of a lot of kind of crime, drug trafficking, homicide, extortion, rapist, and so kidnapping and legal weapon trafficking. In some cases also eco-mafia for the waste, illegal waste trafficking, and so on, a lot of other. And also in the last part, the conditioning of economic activity was the main target organized crime type of mafia, the only target for our law. The final target is to have a role in the condition of the control of economic activity. You can find there some events, some special events of Italian history and about the history of a fight against mafia. That was the step was born this law. When there was, in first case, the murder of Generale Carlo Alberto Dalla Chiesa was the prefetto di Palermo that was killed in 1982. And after also the killing of the homicide of a trade unionist and politician Pio La Torre. That is the father of this law, because he's the person that wrote really this legal firm in 1980. And probably for this question, for this reason, was killed 2 days after. This is a fast explanation of the structure of this part of our criminal code, the article of our criminal code. Anyone who is part of a mafia-type organized crime group made up of 3 or more persons, not less of 3, from 3 up is possible to make a group that is also with the mafia style. You can find the same thing that I explained before, intimidation deriving from the association memberships. On the other side, the awe and silence deriving from belonging to the association. And this is the objective of the organization, to commit crimes, to make a profit or unfair advantage, and to prevent, obstruct also the free rights of vote, to obtain votes in electoral consultation. It's a really serious problem, this, in some part of our country, when mafia can make a strong condition of also electoral competition. Because in this way, they can pose on top of our administrative structure their men, their representative, illegal representative. And this is a big problem in some part of our country. And what is the final step? To obtain, directly or indirectly, management or control of economic activities, public authorization, and contracts and public service. This is the real final step where our mafia look when make their criminal activity. Not is murder, not is extortion, not is else. This is the way to, but the final step is this part of my presentation. You can read, because it's too long for me to replay all the lecture, but this is important speech by Giovanni Falcone, as you know, was our most important magistrate against mafia, one of our heroes in this fight. And he explained very, very well what is the specific characteristic of Italian mafia. And he explained this in 1982, 14 years ago. And now this word are really, really very actual. In actuality, now we can say the same thing that Falcone say in 1982. This material can remain here, so you can give to the colleagues.
We had a nice overview of what are the rules and the laws that identify mafia. You need to have that particular characteristic in Italy to be considered mafioso. Otherwise, you are just a criminal, if I am not wrong. It's different treatment, no? It's a different treatment. Now, Falcone said, follow the money. I think that was his best advice. If you follow the money, you will find the criminal gang, the organization. And as Colonel Garofalo was saying, we have different sources of activities that may produce money. But the question is, who shares the illicit revenues? Who gets the money at the end of this particular activity? And I would like to ask this to Andrea Minella, that is Lieutenant of Carabinieri, and he has a very, very impressive CV. I suggest you to go to see on our site on Festival della Diplomazia if you want to know more of each one of them. He has been working in the fighting the Camorra, the Nigerian criminality, narco traffic, and he is working internationally, cooperating with different type of agencies, enforcement agencies. At the moment, he is lieutenant working for what we call ROS, Raggruppamento Operativo Speciale. ROS are the people you see at the end of an action, the one that have the black cap, the one that have just arrested the mafia chief, the mafia head. So I would like you to invite you to give us an idea how this organization in a digital era, in a moment, how do they move the money? How do they utilize the digital technologies to improve their benefit, their earnings, and to escape the enforcement?
Good evening. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Andrea Minella, as already mentioned. I'm a unit commander at Analysis Department of ROS Carabinieri. ROS is the acronym for Special Operational Group. That is the top investigative body of Armate Carabinieri. My department basically carries out complex analysis on major criminal dynamics in order to contribute in shaping the ROS general strategy. Oh, sorry. This is the agenda of my speech. I'll be underlining some key aspects of the current scenario in the evolving process of organized crime, and also I'll show you some features of mafia type organizations that will be useful for the last part of my presentation. The current structural and operational configuration of a mafia type organization is the result of an evolutionary process that has undergone a drastic acceleration at the beginning of last century, has continued throughout the century and continues to this day. Major steps in the process have been the ability of mafia organizations in draining large public contributions, strengthening relationships with politics, as already mentioned, so that the mafia would provide votes, which in turn would facilitate the organization. And in the 90s, also the abilities to carry out more lucrative activities, such as drug trafficking, shifting slowly to a new entrepreneurial dimension. This is a picture to show what we call historical mafia type organizations. As already mentioned, we have also in Italy a big presence of ethnic mafia. And the main difference is that mafia organizations can be polycentric without a subordinate vertex, or unitarian or vertical. That is the case of the most dangerous and threatening mafia organizations like 'Ndrangheta, where there is a superordinate vertex who is able to solve disputes and carry out strategies for the whole organization. These are some features of organized crime, mafia type groups. Feature that, well, the main one we focus on in carrying out our investigation. So as you can see, a mafia organization has to have a stable and lasting structure with hierarchy, roles and functions, affiliation rituals, rules and strategies, and also the use of violence and corruption as tool for achieving goals. With this slide, I think I answered to the previous question. Where do organized crime proceeds come from? Especially when mafia organization group has a unitarian structure, posed as criminal holdings, with a governing body that lay down strategies for multiple illicit interests. So mafia organizations are good at carrying out traditional crimes like drug trafficking, but they are even better in carrying out new crimes like money laundering with cryptocurrencies. Despite the most sophisticated mafia structures shift the strategy to an entrepreneurial dimension, their power factors are always the same. So first one, submersive strategy, that is the customary way into going into hiding. So conduct criminal actions and being off the grid. Second one is corruption and crime diplomacy, that is represented with this picture, this handshaking between a man and an octopus. Means that well, there's the try of mafia to cut deals with the highest level of society, politicians, businessmen, and the picture is blurred because the politicians and businessmen's perception to get in touch with mafia is not always so clear. But we have to keep in mind that on the other hand, there's an octopus, that it's an animal. So the use of violence is always available for mafia organization because they, in running their business, they don't take no for an answer. So they can easily leave their entrepreneurial phase and take the gun. In 2020, when the massive use of technologies, especially for the encrypted communications, came through, inevitably changed the approach of investigations. This is investigation Eureka, a recent investigation we have done, ended up last May with 132, please, with 132 people arrested in more than 8 countries. And it has been a very good example of cooperation, both in judicial and police channel, and also a very good example of use of the best technology available for police and forces, because we were able to intercept a large amount of encrypted communications. As a result, we seized 25 million euros assets seized and freezed in Portugal, Italy, Germany, and France. And we also documented the trafficking of 4,000 kilos of cocaine in different narco-traffic routes, the drug trafficking routes, starting from South America to Europe and even to Australia. And it has been a very hard in the effort to coordinate all together, especially the action day. I was in the Netherlands in the coordination center and it has been very hard, especially the judicial coordination to get together different legislation and in order to arrest all those people in the same day. So again. So, in conducting investigations, it's very important to take a look at the international scenario, the European scenario. Cooperation between criminal networks is fluid, systemic, and profit-oriented. So we have in Europe many different criminal networks from different countries interacting together with a massive use of what we call crime as a service model. So people who are professionals in some fields of expertise, who give his help, even if they are not affiliate, they are not inside a criminal organization, in order to go ahead with big criminal projects. Numbers are impressive. According to Europol perspective, 70% of criminal networks are active in more than 3 member states. 80% of criminal networks is involved in transnational crime, such as drug trafficking, trafficking human beings, and migrant smuggling. Still at present, the amount of assets that law enforcement managed to take away from hands of criminal networks remain below 2% of yearly estimated proceeds of organized crime. So let's say it's a drop in the ocean in an illicit and untaxed revenues gained by networks. So talking about asset recovery, the value seized assets in the EU annually amounted at least at 4.1 billion on average in 2020 and 2021. And talking about illicit revenues generated by serious and organized crime, the most recent approximation on yearly profits on 9 markets in the EU ranged between 92 to 188 billion, considering this number an underestimation. So in conclusion, fight against mafia-type organizations in a span of few years has taken on new connotations and new criticalities. And this is pushing us and the magistrates and legislative bodies to face new challenges. Investigations are successful if trials are successful, and to do so, we have to gather up usable evidence. And the problem is that with new technologies, because of their complexity, sometimes hinder the right definition of the legal category applicable for the digital data collected. So in this context, fragmented landscape of laws interact one another, making criminal investigations more complex and tangled. This is our founding father, General Carlo Alberto della Chiesa, who created the anti-crime method in the late 70s in the fight against domestic terrorism in Italy. And this is an extract of a report that he drafted in '74 for the Ministry of Interior while he was showing the successes of anti-crime unit of Carabinieri. And he said, we wanted to detach the attention from individual episodes and focus on a global and organic vision of the phenomenon to have a better understanding of the present and possible keys for the future. So he said in the '74 what after has become one of our pillars for the anti-crime method. So we have to face the future, bearing in mind the past and this thought. Thank you very much.
Grazie. Well, as you see, the activities of the enforcement, of the Italian enforcement in connection with the European and also global enforcement is producing a lot of results, not yet sufficient, because it's a race between the organization, the criminal organization, and the law enforcement group to use the best technology, to investigate and to also create the proof to bring to the tribunal. Now, let's go on, and I think that at this point we have to talk about several financial crimes. In Italy there is a specialized force that is Guardia di Finanza, that is not only going after the tax elusion, people that do not pay tax, but they have a lot of competences and a lot of activities, very good skills, and also groups that are specialized in different type of illicit crime. We have here the commander of the Gruppo Investigazione e Supporto Operativo Servizio Centrale Investigazione di Criminalità Organizzata, that is impossible to translate, but it's Vimar Zeka, that is the commander, and he will give us an idea of the activity that his group is doing in Italy and internationally. Grazie.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for your introduction. I try to translate the title. Okay, I am Lieutenant Colonel Vimar Zeka. I am very proud and honored to be here to represent my administration here at Guardia di Finanza. I am the head, nowadays, I am the head of an operational and support group for the investigation on organized crime. My office, my headquarters, is at the Central Organized Crime Investigation Service that is based in Rome. And we are involved in all of the activities or investigation case that are involved in the most serious crime, like organized crime or drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, human being trafficking, and so on. But today I try to summarize, because a little time is not so easy for me to summarize all the activities or some of the activities that we carry out in our administration. Yes. Okay. Okay. This is I try to set up an agenda, and the first point is the Central Organized Crime Investigation Service task. And as I said before, we try to support our territorial units that are involved also in the investigation on the most important crimes, and with technical, logistical, and operational support. And we provide with a specialized unit, specialized people that cooperate with our territorial unit in Italy. Our territorial unit is the investigation and group on organized crime. We have 26 of departments. There are interprovincial services, and one for every anti-mafia district director. And to summarize our task, I try to do it in this slide. And as you can see, among the others, we try to carry out the delegated investigation by the National Prosecutor Office and the delegated investigation by the Anti-Mafia District Directorate. One of the most important points of this presentation I try to summarize, to give you a little overview about this topic, is the infiltration of organized crime into legal economy. We have to do a change in our vision of the organized crime. We move from a traditional criminal cycle, where the criminal activities has been used only in illicit activities. All the profit, all the income, illegal income that come from the illicit activities, the organized crime in the past, they used to invest all this income in the same illicit activities, so in the usury, extortion, drug trafficking, and so on. Nowadays, is changed. The mindset, the approach of the organized crime is really changed. They try in a new economic cycle, in a new strategic cycle, they try to invest all this income that come from illicit activities in the legal activities. So we can find most of the time a lot of criminals that are the owner of a restaurant or a shopping center, disco, and so on, luxury car sales, and so on. So as you can see, nowadays we have a different approach of the criminal mindset. So criminal nowadays is a businessman. Is not like in the past a man who used to kill someone or used to attempted with the murder to the life of the other person. Yes, we have a residual recourse to the violence, to the threat, but the most important point today is that the organized crime group, or the serious group that are aimed to the illicit traffic, are businessmen, and they try more and more to have the help of broker, for example, if they have to invest the illicit income in, for example, in a legal activity, or as you can see after, strawmen, people that are substantially or basically they have not skill to carry on, for example, a company, but because they are above all the suspicious, they can be there and they can carry on the company activities, but actually the company, the ownership of the company is related to a criminal. So this is the new frontiers of organized crime nowadays. And what are the effects on the economy today of this scenario? We have negative macroeconomic effect because in this case we have the possibility for the organized crime to infiltrate the legal economy. If the organized crime infiltrate the legal economy, we have negative repercussions from under the point of view of the reputational damage for the company, for example, reputational damage with the stakeholders. And we have also damage in the economics market, because if you have, for example, a reciprocal relationship with the organized crime of a company, we can be in two positions. The first one is the colluding company. So the company that has a reciprocal advantage advantage, sorry, with the organized crime. If instead the company is a victim of business, or is as my colleague said before, subjugated or from the organized crime, we can have a distortion of market, or the economic market, because the first one is over the second one company in terms of market advantage, because he can use the illicit income of the criminal organized crime, and so it creates a great distortion of the economic markets in general, obviously. I try to simplify this concept because I know that it's so difficult to understand for you. I don't know if there is something that you don't understand, please stop me and ask me whatever you want, okay? Related to the topics, obviously, okay. So as we say and we told before, the relationships can be damaged from this, obviously, from this contact between the organized crime and company and with the stakeholders. And the organized crime try more and more to launder, to enhance his illicit income in this area, the legal market, because is the apparently and effectively is the most important and one of the most important methods that they use to increase his illegal income, because if you remind, the income come from the illicit activities, and so they reinvest that income in the legal markets through the legal company. And one of the another important point for to read the infiltration of organized crime in our economy, but also in our institution, public institution, is the corruption that infiltrates the local administration. So most of the time, sometimes we assist to the lot of order of dissolvents or of municipality, okay, city town of a lot of important city, most in the south of Italy, but also in the northern of Italy, because the high public authorities are infiltrated by this kind of person. That so they are criminal that are infiltrated in the local administration to try to pilot the politics and all the local affair, local public works that were assigned during, obviously, during the administration. I'll try to jump some. Okay. This is a sort of a summary of what we said before. And one of the most important point is the first one, the residual recourse to the use of violence. The criminal organized crime is not used to recourse to the violence nowadays. Nowadays, we have the possibility to infiltrate the legal market without violence, only with money, only with corruption. So this is one of the most important point that you have to see. So for the moment, I have to, I think that is, thank
you. I tell you, I have a story to say that many years ago, I went to Calabria and I was staying in a hotel that was a very, very nice, very posh hotel in the southern of Calabria, in a place where you really wouldn't expect that type of structure. And so I wondered, and I asked to somebody local, why did they have invested there, where the money came from? And very smoothly, very silently, they told me, this is the kidnap of Kullinger. You remember, he was a gentleman that was kidnapped, and the money of the ransom was used to build that hotel. So people knew about this, and it was a legal investment. Now we have a very important contribution today that is coming from the Italian Coast Guard, that is called La Guardia Costiera, that you hear about very, very often when they talk about the maritime help given to the migrants. They are the one that save a lot of people on the sea, and we have here the Lieutenant Commander Roberto Cubeddu, that has a very, very important CV. And the most important thing I think that I've got from his CV is that he's also involved in teaching. That's what he likes most, I think. He's teaching at the Naval Academy in Livorno, and he's teaching in many courses. But of course, he still does a lot of investigative activities, and he is in charge of the nucleo speciale del comando del Corpo delle Capitanerie di Porto, also very difficult to translate, but he's a specialized officer also for what now we are going to discuss more deeply, that is the eco-mafia. That is a word that maybe is only an Italian invention as a terminology. Eco-mafia, it's all the work, the activity, criminal activity that have to do with ecological crime. Commander.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud, really proud to be here, and thank you very much to hear me on behalf of the General Commander of Italian Coast Guard, my commander. Thank you very much to hear me, and I leave you my short material if you are for your interest, for your study. I hope leave you some element to study. And I'm sure that I will learn from you something about through your questions that I hope and I invite you to ask me after my short speech. So thank you for from the Coast Guard to the organization. I'm Lieutenant Commander. I'm a commander. Sorry. Commander Roberto Cubeddu. I'm the Deputy Chief of the Special Intervention and Investigation Team of the Coast Guard. We are involved in investigations specialized in maritime aspects, sometimes general aspects for ships, about sea cluster, drug traffic, sometimes in collaboration with other police forces, but we are very specialized, very concerned by the environment crimes, eco crimes, and in this case I will try to explain you some investigation aspects, elements and approach from the Coast Guard to the eco crimes and illicit waste trafficking by sea and transnationally. This short report aims to indicate some analytical and investigative critical issues in the maritime field, with the consequence that the investigator must possess both specialized skills and competencies. I think that this is the leitmotif of this conference, this very important conference, and I will put strengthness in this concept for the importance to achieve competencies and skills, better skills and combinations of skills so that there is competency. These skills and competencies must be continuously updated with relentless effort, with the same force of this wave of the sea, with the knowledge that eco-criminals will do the same. It's very important for me to say that this is a big challenge. We are not so much police forces, judicial police forces that have to fight a war very difficult, a very big challenge against a phenomenon in continuous change, continuously changing. Eco-criminals have many resources, have many time, sometimes more time than us, because we are very busy in our offices. We have many times to do. And so this is the reason to put a maximum effort in this activity. 5 macro areas, the principles, the main macro areas that I studied for this day about the maritime frameworks important and relevant for the investigations and with effects on the environment crimes. The first one may be the most important, but not the least, maybe the organized illicit waste trafficking. That is a phenomenon sometimes studied like the drug traffic for the incomings, very important, very increasing day by day. After we speak very shortly about the criminological aspects of the waste trafficking in comparison with other kind of traffickings. Wastewater, rivers, lakes, at sea. Of course, Coast Guard is very concerned from this phenomena, and we fight this phenomenon referring to the judicial authorities and trying to ensure the bodies to solve the problem and also to punish the criminals. Abuse on the coastlines as well as building and landscapes, because we are a state with many natural sea coasts, tourism, and the abuse on the coastlines and buildings and landscape crimes can put a big problem for the economy, and so has to be very fighted by us. Illegal trafficking in protected fish species and crimes against wildlife. This is unexpected increasing at the time, because just an example is the litophaga is a fish species that increases inside the stones, and a very important group of criminals break the stones to have incomes from the commercial aspects of this kind of fish. Sometimes we found in recent investigations also links with organized crime, particularly from the Campania, Camorra organized crimes. Very long investigations, very complicated investigation, because as I told before, is like a challenge. It's very difficult. We have to have patience. We have to follow the persons and follow the money. I will come back to the follow the money later. Spills, last but not least, spills of hydrocarbons and other harmful substances from ships or coastal facilities, of course. Just some short note about criminology and victimology. Why is important this note? In my opinion, is important because a modern investigator has to know that the victim in eco crimes is a particular kind of victim. Sometimes we found, many times, we found victims who doesn't did not concern from the effects of the ecological crimes, eco-crimes. So they don't collaborate. Normally, if you compare it with other kind of crimes, like homicide or drug traffics, etc., you can expect have more collaboration. In eco-crimes, sometimes you have nothing similar to collaboration. You have no interest, sometimes the syndrome, NIMBY syndrome, that you know is not in my backyard syndrome very often. Another important syndrome we study is the NIMTO syndrome, because this is a phenomenon that we find in public officers, public employees, that sometimes with this behavior don't collaborate and don't do what they have to do. So we try, because our criminal code asks us to do it, to find elements to prove, to demonstrate that these employees are in complicity, in very close to the criminals, and so to punish them. So we have to profile a criminal, study the victim, and know what are the differences between waste trafficking and other kind of trafficking. The first one, the most evident difference maybe is that when you find a container full of drug, we found in 2015 with the GICO of Guardia di Finanza in Cagliari, 20,000 kilos of hashish inside a ship, very hidden. But we found it. When we found it, the crime was very clear. So many works, many operations, but the crime was there. If you find a ship full of wastes, a container full of wastes, we don't have started again, because we have to study what kind of material, if that material is a waste, is a material use, is a byproduct, for example, etc. So it's very complicated work. This page is just to introduce the phenomenon, criminal phenomenon of girobolla. Girobolla means like bill round, like a criminal method to complicate the life of the investigator and the life of the public officer, to try to demonstrate that the documents are regulars, but really actually you have wastes on board this container, this ship, this trailer, etc. Obviously, they are looking for incomings, illegal incomings, and they are trying to hide the phenomenon. Circular economy, you know, that is the reality today. Nowadays, you hear every day to speak about circular economy, but circular economy for the eco-criminal investigator can be a problem, because they say this every day less wastes and more products recycled. But in recycling, there is the girobolla always very existing. The importance of money traceability. Follow the money, my colleagues told before. And this is very important. If you follow the money, maybe you find the responsibility of the real criminals, not only the peripheral criminals. And we are very concerned from the company responsibilities. I will speak about later. Principle, international, European and national laws speak about the principle to be respected by by citizens, by companies. So using the respect of principles, we can sometimes call in responsibility some public officer that don't do what he has to do. This Italian decree is a very important decree because from 2001, but in eco crimes only from 2011, allows the investigator to demonstrate the civil liability linked to the personal liability of the criminals that carry out, that commit the crime in the interest of the company. And we have important measures to possible to carry out, of course, with the judge, preventive seizure, confiscation, interdictory measures. That is the future of the investigation, in my opinion. Command and control function of public employees. This is the third time, I think, I speak about public employees, because this is a cancer at the moment, in my opinion, because we have very criminals, traditional criminals, but we have also white-collar crimes, white-collar criminals. And this is the short page about it. Future perspective is increase the attention of the legislative instruments to call in responsibility also legal persons, and to give to the investigators other instruments also about the cooperation, not only national cooperation, but also transnational cooperation. I went 2 times this year in The Hague, in the Eurojust agency, that is an agency very recent constitution, about 10 years, I think, that is trying now to develop her power. This is an agency that links all the judicial authorities and the police forces, judicial police forces, to cooperate, sometimes also transferring the judicial policy across borders to investigate. This is a revolution, and this is the future. With the instrument is called SIC, Squadra Investigativa Comune. I don't remember. Joint Investigation Team, JIT. Okay. Just to close, but you can read it in the material I leave you, some operation. This is about the C dates, what I spoke about before. This is Gargano Nostrum in 2021, a big operation about the abandon of a fishing net in a quantity, very, very big quantity, in the southeast of Italy. And SOA is a particular kind of byproduct, animal byproduct, that can be with a girobolla, recalling the concept of girobolla, it was really wastes, very big quantity, thousands of tons every month that was covered like byproduct. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's run so that we'll give you the possibility to do questions. Last but not least, we have Roberto Cubeddu, that is an environmental analyst. He is also specialized in anti-corruption, and he is a commissario straordinario alle bonifiche. You know that Italy has a lot of terre dei fuochi, this type of place where there are wastes that have been buried, and so he's the commissario. And most of all, he is the curator since many years of Ecomafia report that is made by Legambiente Onlus, that is traditional, maybe the most old association that has been working for the environmental protection. Grazie.
Thank you. Thank you for invitation. I'm so proud to be here to share my knowledge with you. You are a student. It's very important to speak to students. This is my fish. I made it with the waste that I found in the beach. I try to be very simple. Some advice. Before fighting the ecomafia and the waste traffickers, we should know the legal framework on management system. We should know how the legal framework works before to understand how the legal framework works. Ecomafia should not be an alibi to hide political responsibility. Some journalists in general, they talk about waste, but they don't know how are the real mechanism inside the management of the waste. Where waste, for example, are not a unique material, but a numbers of substances and objects that run in a very different road. So it's, my opinion, it's better to talk about supply chain, and we have a lot of supply chain for each kind of waste. So we should know how each supply chain works. Waste trafficking, one of the most important economic crime in Italy, sure. From the investigation, it emerged that the existence of well-structured and efficient networks waste traffickers, which not only operate, it's very important, in the illegal market of disposal, but also recycling waste into the black market, draining potential raw materials from legal circuit into the illegal ones. So the traffickers, they operate both on public sector, urban waste, in the case of urban waste, and the private ones, special waste. In the first time, they're trying to use bribery, for example, and the numbers of illegality to control public tenders for the assignment of the contract. In the second case, offering a very cheaper services to the company. This is an opportunity for them to save money. Be careful, don't make mafia as an alibi. Mafia are just one of the actors involved, not the only ones. Environmental crimes, in particular in waste case, they involve illegal production and distribution goods and services. It's more an enterprise crime than a mafia type. This emerged from DDI investigation. Illegal management of waste because requires skills and a very good, huge relationship. And the white collar are so important, professionals, the white collar are so important. This is our last report, the Ecomafia report. I think it's the only case in the world. NGO each year produce an Ecomafia report, a report on environmental crimes. I think it's the only case in the world. Legal trafficking waste are the 80% of the total amount of environmental crimes. In particular, more than 5,000 felonies, more than 60,000 complaints, 94 arrests, just in 1 year. Waste crime regional rank, each year, Campania, Puglia, Lazio, Lombardia, and Calabria are the worst region in numbers of crime. The Italian customs, they searched in our territory a lot of waste, in particular plastic waste, end-life vehicles, rubber, wood, and metals. We are talking about waste that they are sending to Thailand, Ghana, Singapore, Senegal. This is some picture. This is a classical scheme of legal traffic of waste. There is who produce waste, there is a transportation, and there is the giro bolla. It means they counterfeit the document. It's very, very easy to counterfeit the document that accompany the waste. It's enough to change a number, as you can see, in order to transform, for example, an hazardous waste in a urban waste or in a fertilizer, for example. In this case, a toxic solvent which should be addressed to a landfill for hazardous waste can be easily transformed, just in the document, into a harmless urban waste, just with the counterfeit of the document. Illegal traffic of waste serves to make waste tax fraud because, especially at the national level, because it serves to declare, for example, costs that are not being undertaken. There are fake companies that are created to issue false invoice in large quantities, and then when needed, they disappeared without the trace. Without forgetting that opening a waste management company can also be a front to hide a money laundering, as reported by the Bank of Italy in 2011. Italian good practice. In 2001, the Italian Parliament adopted a bill about a crime of organized activity for illegal waste trafficking. Since then, it allowed the investigator to use appropriate investigative tools against environmental crimes, such as wiretapping and electronic surveillance. The new law provides harsher penalties for traffickers and give also the possibility of resorting to international letter rogatories. Other best practices are a number of protocols that our Italian customs with law enforcement, they set up in the last years. I'm going to go to the end. Old style is just to throw away the waste into the sea, into the lake, in the quarry, wherever. In this case, in agriculture field, for example, a classical in eco-mafia style in Campania, land of fire. For decades, many countries have sent their waste to poor countries as a common tricks to reduce cost. Since the 70s, sending industrial and radioactive waste to the poorest areas of the world has always been a big business. A famous case is the one known as the poison ship, the mysterious wreck of many cargoes that the Mediterranean Sea between 17 and 19. It's one of the worst Italian secrets. In spite of many proof and some informers' admission, we still don't have any judiciary truth. The new style waste are considered as raw materials. Waste trafficking is used to intercept important raw materials. So we talk about urban mine. It is a very, very huge black market in order to get some raw materials. So traffickers are against green economy, against the ecological transition. because, or paradoxically, good recycling policies encourage and create another space for illegal traffic of waste. This is a very paradox. In the case, for example, of in the electrical cables, these are pictures made from law enforcement about some sales. Ferrous scrap, textile waste are very usual, and so on. Old tires, plastic waste. So, in my opinion, we have to make a choice. Fighting the illegal waste trafficking and at the same time protect and encourage recycling activity is the real challenge for the future. But it is also the best way to save the planet, protect the human health and the legal economy. We should decide how much we want to decrease the commercial flow in order to enhance border controls. There are evidence that enhanced controls lead to an increase in sales. Everywhere the border control should be enhanced. That's the only way to efficiently tackle the illegal flow. The triangulation, the system of triangulation between different countries allow waste containers to be trafficked across the border. So we need more control. So all we need is prevention. It's more important than repression. The priority should be replacing the approach belonging to current mainstream economics, which so far have proved to open the way to illegality and misgovernance in waste management as far as the nature of the landscape protection. There is a desperate need of transparent and effective policies on common good, modern control system, and last but not least, an economic governance which prove to be finally fair and shared by the society. The rule of the public administration is very crucial. Finally, there is no question that the better fight eco-crimes, we should change economic paradigm, system of control, and the vision of the world. Thanks.
To be on time, we need to have some questions, but very quickly and very fast. Raise your hand and we'll, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Go.
Hi, I am Ludovica Luciano and I'm from Italy. And thank you for all of your intervention. And I have some questions for all of you. First of all, I appreciated when you said that the mafia phenomenon has expanded throughout the years and the centuries. And that is not only its expression is not only that of physical violence, but it is an economic and social phenomenon. And as it is mainly also a social phenomenon, I wanted to ask, in your opinion, which are the ways through which people can be aware and citizens can be aware that mafia, unfortunately, is so present also in little things and little activities in our lives? Then I have another question, but maybe I can do it later. Thank you.
Wish now to have more questions and then they will answer, they choose which one they will answer.
Hi, my name is Adiola and I'm from India. I have two questions. How do you think the arrest of Matteo Messina Denaro in January affected Italy's progress in eradicating organized crime? Also, there was Professor Anna Sergi apparently seemed to apply a give and take relationship between the state and mafia on the speculations on the basis of his arrest without a tip-off. I want to know what your opinions are about that.
Vabbè, avete capito la domanda? Sì, l'arresto di Messina Denaro, rapporto con lo Stato, e qui abbiamo lei che... Ok, allora i Ross risponderanno. Altre domande?
I'm
Prego.
Sofia, GG2. My question is, okay, so we have politicians and journalists talking about mafia and ways to fight it and defeat it, but I actually think that the only people who are actually in touch with it are you and public forces. So my question is, do you actually think, do you see a future where mafia is not there? Because I actually, seeing videos, watching documentaries, and knowing what's going on around me, I actually think that people are attached to it, so they actually want mafia's protection. So do you think the state is failing to provide helps to people who are attached to mafia? Do you think mafia is giving more than the state is? Can the state do more? Or that's it?
Very provocative, very provocative.
Okay, so this is,
Yes,
okay,
please.
yeah, sorry. This is, my question is that in...
Where are you from?
I'm from Iran. So my question is that in one of the early presentations, there was one of the reasons that mafia can stay there is because of their intervention in bureaucratic works. By that, they can make themselves like stay there. And so we could think that if we make the bureaucratics less and like make it more more efficiently, it would kind of fight with the mafia. But one of the solutions that was implied in the last presentation was in a way or another, it would extend the amount of bureaucratic work. So it would kind of, I think, goes against a real solution. So I wanted to know how would that work. Thank you.
Okay, another question? Right. Please.
Hello. First of all, thank you all for your information. I'm John. I'm coming from Turkey, and I'm a Jiu-Jitsu student. My question was to all of you because you've talked about different sectors of this law enforcement in the environment sector, in the financial sector. To be effective, law enforcement agencies must constantly adapt to changing nature of crime and the way criminals behave. In your opinion, in all of your opinion, what is the biggest issue facing law enforcement today? Because there's the culture that is also having a broad impact into this subject. Thank you.
Okay, the last question, up there.
My name is Mohammed and I'm from Nigeria. It's a question related to what one of my colleagues said earlier, but mine is more towards the question she asked earlier about a future without them. My question is, do you think there is any chance, instead of going entirely against them, maybe drawing them close to the state, making them see views from the state's point of view, rather integrating them into the system instead of alienating them from the system? Is there any possibility for that in Italy?
Well, chi l'ha capita questa domanda? Perché can you put your microphone a bit closer because we couldn't hear you?
Okay, so the question is, like she said earlier about the mafia organizations being eradicated entirely. What about a sort of eradicating the mentality? Is that possible? Getting those that are the stakeholders in that industry to get an alliance with the state. So instead of going against them, there are now people the state can actually work with. Is there any possibility for that here?
Maybe instead of fighting, Mafia try to integrate it in the system.
Okay, very good proposal. Let's see. Well, there are states where they are so well integrated in the politics that maybe we can say that has already occurred. Allora, non ci sono altre domande, anche perché sono tutte così tante. Sorry, there are so many questions. Now, let's start from the beginning. Shh.
I can try to give an answer to your question because are more connected one with each other. You ask if how we can go on with the fight. We are inside the state. In front of you, we are some law enforcement that work against the mafia. We are quite educated to live on a different way of knowledge about mafia for the public opinion. There are different periods. The history of this fight was really different. There are some part of our history in which the fight against mafia was the top of our interest for the public opinion, and so also for the state. There are some periods when for the public opinion there are more other interesting questions, like in this moment, war in Ukraine, or the problem in Israel and Palestine question, and so other in these days. We try to work only where the public opinion is not really interested to mafia. This is the secret, because a lot of time it will happen that the public opinion is not really, also in Italy, not really interested to mafia question. Our force, our step, I speak also for our colleagues and also for the magistrates that are our principal point of reference for the investigation. We can try to go on also when there is not interest, because we know that mafia grown and go ahead outside the Italian border, obviously when the attention is bad. When there is no attention, that is the special moment that mafia can try to go ahead. Okay, so we know that our work can be on the same level, and it not depends from the public opinion attention. It's okay, and the second one is a cultural problem, is a social problem. Yes, in Italy and also in other countries we have this problem to speak about what is mafia. Mafia is normal behavior for the person. It is the acceptance of the intimidation, of the violence, of the compromise, not only in the way of life in each day of our life, but only for our work, for the affairs, for economic enterprise. If you don't accept the compromise with illegal interest, this is the first step for make good efforts against mafia. It is important to explain not only in Italy, but only outside Italy, because this is main problem not in our country, when mafia is typical our problem, but in other countries where there is not really consciousness about the way to move of Italian mafia. So in your country, in other country of where some of you come from. So it's necessary to speak what is mafia in the behavior in each day. And with our colleagues from law enforcement in other countries, we can try to make also this, because it's not really simple to have the mental capability to know what is mafia in our work.
Okay, io penso, think that each one of you picks up one question and answers. So, vogliamo usare... Okay.
Yeah, and just I want, in addition, what I said before, my colleague, the problem is we have a lot of problems in this case, but it's not so easy to summarize in one universal receipt, okay, the answer. We have to try to do everybody, okay? Our efforts have to go in the same direction to contrast the organized crime, to contrast the corruption, because if we have corruption in our society, we can go on. We stop immediately our growth. And this is the problem. The problem is in, it comes from the family. If our parents educate us to have a good life, to have a sort of way of life that is different from criminal mind. So this is the very important start for everyone. Law enforcement agency institutional authorities can help you to overcome this problem. But the problem is has to be eradicated at the origin, not when the problem is nowadays too much enormous, and only with a cultural disposal of everyone we can tackle this kind of problem. Our legal instruments help us to do it, but it's not the solution, the final solution. Okay, to prevent this problem, we have all together try to think different, think in a different way than the organized crime, than the serious crime group, because it's easy through the drug trafficking to have a lot of money today, but it's not the legal way to have money. It's easy to go for example, money laundering, but it's not the legal way to have money, and so on. I can continue, endless maybe, but we have to try all together in to contrast this kind of mindset that is not okay.
The Messina Denaro question, if you may say us something.
Okay, if I remind well, you asked if there's been a collusion, right? Where is the number there? Well, no, for sure, it has been a very long investigation, very difficult investigation, but it's too easy, I think about conspiracy or some strange forces or some strange things that happen. It has been just a very difficult investigation. And one thing that I want to say to you, that you are very young, you're the future of the society, is that you have to bear in mind, as my colleague said, that in many places, mafia is a mindset. It's a way of living, and we have to shed a light on the gray area. I put the picture, the shaking hand, blurred, because in many occasions the contact with a mafia attitude or a mafia behavior, sorry, it's blurred. So you have to pay attention. And also another thing. So when I was very young, I was deployed in the south of Italy in an investigative unit in a place where it was full of Camorra people. And every time something happened, an homicide or something, we were asking information to the people to write in the report. And every time we didn't have any cooperation, even for very, let's say, little information, you know. So before I would suggest to you that you're very young, before think about a conspiracy with the state and mafia, let's focus on your own effort in having the good mindset. When you will be a politician, a businessman, an important person in your position, do not do the shaking hand with the octopus. Pay attention. I try to run.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Commander.
Okay, I agree with my colleagues for the general principles. As to about this question, but I thank you for these questions. Very interesting. We are together at the same side, the legal side of society. We are all together in the society. But today we are speaking like state agency, legal state agency, investigative agencies, representative, and you are more oriented like society. So for me, some element to answer the questions is the society, we all together, and you have to invest in the future. Go in the schools, educate your sons and daughters to legal approach to the life, as my colleagues told before me. Believe in that, because it is easier to fall sometimes in the temptation of choose the shorter way to the success, but this is a false way. And like state agency, investigating agencies, we ensure you the maximum effort to use all instruments, all possible instruments, and sometimes also impossible instruments to do it, to try to disincrease the problem, not to solve the problem, because it's a long, long challenge.
Okay. Andrea Pergolizzi, finally. Antonio, scusa. Antonio Pergolizzi, scusami, is from the civil society.
Yes, yes. The summary of the question could be what we need. We need more information, we need more technology to share technology. We need each person is aware about the risk, about the choice. We need to change our economic paradigm because it's impossible to go on. We are living a very, very tremendous environmental crisis, so we have to change the road. But at the same time, in Italy, we made a lot of step ahead, because, for example, we made a lot of change in our legislation, environmental legislation. We introduced a lot of felony, for example. Also in our constitution, the environment is protected now. So we make a lot of things, and we are able to discuss about mafia, about eco-mafia. In Italy is the only country where NGO each year published an eco-mafia report that we talk each year about environmental crime. The question for you is, what's happening in other countries? It could be a very important homework to understand the other country, what they are imagining, what they are doing for fighting environmental crime and for share information with the population. It could be a good homework for you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank our panelists, and I want to finish this extremely interesting conversation saying that maybe it is difficult, it's going to be very difficult, but if we have a hope, it's because we are still betting on the human factor that came today to give you this presentation. So thank you very much, and have a good work. And we'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow.